Every business that ships products or moves goods relies on transportation services. Behind each delivery, each shipment, and each route lies a critical legal document that protects both parties and ensures smooth operations. Transportation contracts are the backbone of supply chain management, defining everything from payment terms to liability in case something goes wrong. A transportation contract is a legally binding agreement that governs the provision of freight and logistics services. These contracts cover a wide range of services, including motor carrier operations, rail freight, domestic water transport, and specialized delivery systems. They document the obligations of both the service provider and the client, specifying shipping methods, delivery schedules, and all associated costs. What makes these contracts different from simple shipping arrangements is their legal enforceability and comprehensive scope. They serve multiple functions beyond just outlining services. Transportation contracts establish clear performance expectations, assign responsibility for goods while in transit, clarify insurance and risk responsibilities, and provide structured mechanisms for resolving disputes. In regulated sectors such as government logistics or medical transport, these contracts must also align with federal and state procurement laws. They intersect with commercial law and transportation regulations from agencies like the Department of Transportation and the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. This regulatory compliance is not optional, but a fundamental requirement. A well-drafted transportation contract must address several critical components. The billing and payment section needs to specify due dates, accepted payment methods, and penalties for late payment, including interest rates and collection costs. This clarity prevents financial disputes down the line. Certifications and warranties require careful language. Promising complete accuracy or 100% satisfaction can create legal liability. Instead, contracts should use reasonable language that sets achievable expectations for pickup times, delivery windows, and regulatory compliance. The consequential damages waiver is essential. This clause limits liability for indirect losses, such as lost profits, business interruption, or manufacturing shutdowns that result from delayed shipments. Without this protection, a carrier could face claims far exceeding the value of the transportation service itself. Safety clauses clearly establish that whoever performs a specific task bears responsibility for job safety during that operation. This prevents ambiguity about liability if an accident occurs during loading, transport, or delivery. Liability limitation clauses specify the maximum amount a carrier will be responsible for if a claim arises. This cap protects the transportation provider from unlimited exposure while still providing recourse for the client in case of loss or damage. Alternative dispute resolution provisions have become increasingly important. Mediation, though informal, has proven highly effective when used early in a disagreement. Many contracts now require mediation as a first step before pursuing litigation or arbitration. The scope of services section should list each service offered, including those that carry additional charges. A detailed service list prevents misunderstandings about what is and is not included in the base rate. Standard of care provisions define the level of service quality the carrier commits to providing. While the language should not promise perfection, it must be high enough to meet reasonable client expectations and industry standards. Termination clauses describe the circumstances under which either party can end the contractual relationship. Contracts without expiration dates can become problematic over time. The best approach allows for renewals at specified intervals, giving both parties regular opportunities to renegotiate terms. Third-party beneficiary clauses address potential claims from individuals or entities outside the direct contractual relationship. These provisions establish ground rules for how such claims will be handled and interpreted. Effective contract management extends beyond the initial signing. It encompasses negotiation, execution, ongoing monitoring, and eventual renewal. Best practices include maintaining centralized documentation, where all versions and amendments are stored securely. Regular contract audits help ensure compliance. This means reviewing invoices against contracted rates and monitoring carrier performance against agreed terms. Automated tracking systems can monitor contract milestones, expiration dates, and compliance metrics, reducing the risk of oversights. Stakeholder collaboration is vital. Procurement teams, operations staff, and legal advisors should all be involved early in the contract development process. Their combined expertise helps identify potential issues before they become problems. Risk assessment should include evaluation of subcontractors and third-party providers. Understanding the full chain of responsibility helps manage exposure and ensures adequate insurance coverage throughout the transportation network. Modern transportation contracts increasingly incorporate performance metrics through service-level agreements. These SLAs specify measurable criteria such as on-time delivery rates, freight damage ratios, claims resolution timeframes, equipment availability, and load acceptance rates. These metrics provide objective standards for evaluating carrier performance. They can form the basis for financial penalties when standards are not met or incentives when carriers exceed expectations. This data-driven approach brings accountability to what might otherwise be subjective assessments of service quality. Government transportation contracts follow distinct processes compared to private sector agreements. Federal and state contracts are typically awarded through competitive bidding and must comply with strict procurement guidelines. Examples include military freight services, United States Postal Service mail routes, emergency response logistics, and public transit operations. Contractors pursuing government work must often register in systems like SAM.gov. They must comply with federal acquisition regulation clauses, Buy American Act requirements, security clearance procedures, and extensive reporting mandates. Failure to meet these requirements can result in fines, contract termination, or debarment from future opportunities. State-level transportation contracts can range from one-time jobs to long-term service agreements. These might include bus services for group outings, temporary transportation for government employees, sedan services for officials, or daily shuttle routes for public universities. The transportation industry encompasses diverse service types, each with unique contractual considerations. Taxi and limousine services, bicycle rentals, owner-operator trucking, and moving van businesses all require tailored contract language. Specialty services such as livestock transportation and medical transport involve additional regulatory requirements and liability considerations. Senior transportation services must address accessibility and safety protocols specific to elderly passengers. Marine shipping and air transport contracts deal with international regulations and customs procedures. Each service type brings its own operational risks that contracts must address. Transportation contracting faces several ongoing challenges. Fuel price volatility requires flexible pricing mechanisms or fuel surcharge clauses that adjust with market conditions. Regulatory complexity continues to grow as agencies add new safety, environmental, and operational requirements. Cross-border transportation introduces additional complications. International contracts must address customs clearance, import duties, and questions of legal jurisdiction. Technology gaps in some organizations lead to poor contract visibility and difficulty enforcing terms. Dispute resolution remains a common challenge. Ambiguous contract language can lead to disagreements over responsibility for delays, damage claims, or billing discrepancies. Clear, precise drafting helps prevent these conflicts. Contract structure varies significantly by transportation mode. Trucking contracts typically focus on mileage rates, fuel surcharges, and load-to-truck ratios. They must address driver hours of service regulations and equipment maintenance standards. Rail freight agreements often include demurrage charges for delayed loading or unloading and provisions regarding track access rights. The long-term nature of rail infrastructure means these contracts may span many years. Marine shipping contracts emphasize cargo liability, weather-related delays, and port tariff structures. They must account for the unique risks of ocean transport, including piracy in certain regions, and the complexities of maritime law. Air cargo contracts require precision in delivery timelines and incorporate tight security protocols. The high value and time-sensitive nature of air freight means these contracts often include substantial penalty clauses for delays. Transportation contracts form the legal and operational foundation of modern logistics. They protect both service providers and clients by clearly defining expectations, responsibilities, and remedies. Whether dealing with a local delivery service or an international shipping operation, a well-structured contract addresses payment terms, liability limits, performance standards, and compliance requirements. The complexity of transportation law and the high stakes involved make professional legal guidance essential when drafting or negotiating these agreements. Proper contract management, regular performance monitoring, and clear communication between parties ensure that transportation relationships remain productive and legally sound over time.